Thank you so much to everyone that's watching us today as we continue diving in my podcast, A Legacy of Love. But once again, I have a guest. I'm very excited to have you here today, and I know you also have a story. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so ecstatic to be here and share my story.
Yes, could you share a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so I am a corporate professional turned transformational life coach, and I am in the business of love for everyone who is willing to open their hearts to love, but haven't really had a chance to feel it because they have gone through hard times with partners, parents, childhoods. And so, anybody who comes from any kind of walk of life who wants to sort of open their hearts, they come to me and I show them the way because I feel it's really essential for us to understand why we go through these ups and downs in life and what is sort of on the other side of things and how can you get to that other side, right? Because there's the in between that you need to figure out for yourself. But sometimes it's hard to do that alone. So you need guidance. And so I feel like I'm that guide to really show you that light, and so I take pride in that. I'm also a wife and a mom of two, and I try to instill these beliefs and views on my kids as well, so that they can get set up for success, and to also be able to kind of lead with kindness and compassion and love regardless of what happens, because life is going to happen, right? The ups and downs are what really makes us, what it makes life. And so like I said, I take great pride in that. And yeah, having come from a very tumultuous childhood, I feel like it's my responsibility to create a safe space for my kids to be able to really thrive and to understand life from another lens, and to, yes, they're going to go through their own troubles as we all have and learn from that, but at least I can help set the foundation so that they don't feel lost halfway through it, so that they are equipped and have the tools to do whatever they feel they need to do to get to wherever they want to get.
Yes, I definitely understand that because I'm also a mother and I also have, my own dreams and I'm also a wife and bringing all that together. But as everyone, we all have a story. We all have something and how we were able to one day recognize that there was something wrong and we needed to make those changes in our lives. Could you share a little bit about your walking path, your walking journey of what you meant by what you just said previously? In your life? What did you go through?
So, as a kid, when I was 11, I lived in a country that was struck by war. So, I lost my home and I was separated from my mom and dad for about a year and a half. And this was really a hard time because that is the time where you need your parents. This is like a crucial, crucial phase of your life. But not only did you have to deal with the shelling and the bombing and the war, you had to deal with the fact that you were separated, that you didn't have that stability, safety. And
Hmm.
then when I was 13, I had to decide whether or not I want to escape. And so I had to make a decision literally in 15 minutes when someone came to help us escape, whether I'm going to leave my country and be a refugee. And so that decision falling on my shoulders, having to decide just by a chance, basically, because when you're in a war zone, there's no time to think. There's no time to decide where I'm going to sleep on it. You don't sleep on it. You take a chance. And so I took a chance. And so we escaped. And so I became a refugee. So through my teens, I was in another country. I had to learn a new language. I had to go through the teenage years away from my mom and my dad, away from the stability once again. And so all of that was very tumultuous, very hectic, and having to navigate the teenage years on top of everything else, that was definitely something that has really shaped me into someone who is very independent and strong. And I think the reason why I was so independent and strong is because I didn't have a choice. It was sink or swim. And so I chose to swim with all my might. And I think that was really the time where I kind of turned to God, and look at it. It's like, okay, why am I in this position? And, I have to say that being 15, kind of turning to God was really not a norm because, we didn't go and worship on a Sunday and so on and so forth. But it was a way for me to kind of turn to that mighty power to help me figure out my way. And at the same time, I was only 15. So what can you do at 15? In a foreign country, knowing you're a refugee, you have a refugee status, but not being able to return to your home because you have absolutely nothing. And so, figuring out was basically day by day. I just, woke up and just said, okay, what is it that I need to learn today? What's in store for me today? And so I kind of went through life really with that sense of, when I wake up in the morning, it's a gift.
Yes.
And it is up to me to do what I can to be the best me that I can be. And so I kind of went through that. And then at 18, I finally got together with my mom and dad, but then we still couldn't return back home. And that's how we ended up in the US. So coming to the US with the family and 4 suitcases, that was it. Trying to figure out, okay, what now? What's next? What do we do? Again, new language, new culture, new customs, new world. And it was just a constant, pivoting, starting over. And that's basically what really shaped me and gave me that strength to embrace the adversity, the challenges, and to be able to finally kind of find me, figure out who I was. Because what I feel along the way, while we try to survive, we kind of lose that sense of ourselves because we
Yes.
try to really accommodate and adapt for the sake of survival or the sake of survival versus us being ourselves. And I feel that it wasn't really until probably my 30s that I knew who I truly was. And I
Hmm.
used to be really ashamed to say that, but now I'm very proud of that because it brought me here.
Yes. Most definitely. Most
Yeah, and I'm sure
definitely.
you can relate to that because, from what you have gone through, I think it was similar,
There's a lot
right?
of similarities as I'm
Yeah.
listening to you. The fact that I was taken against my will, which I think that you already know, at a very young age. I was just 18. And yes, I love Mexico, but I was not born in Mexico, and it was not what I wanted. And just like you, I had to sink or drown. I had that opportunity when my mother passes away. I was going to be 15. She was an interpreter and translator for General Motors. So we would travel, and I definitely understand trying to make a norm or something that was kind of a norm, something that's just okay, but it's not really okay. Having to go to a place that was not meant to be, but I didn't have a choice. They didn't give me a choice. So I definitely understand. There were so many years of my life that were taken away from me. And coming back to the United States as well, I came also with a couple of suitcases and that was about it. So I definitely connect with you in so many different levels. I could just imagine how your year and so time separated from your loved ones must have been for you. Could you share a little bit about that? Because I definitely understand.
Being a kid, you need your mom and dad. because they are your source of hope, security, love. And even though both my mom and dad were working, so they weren't really a whole lot in my life. I was pretty much very independent early on. I used to take myself to school and come back home and make my own food. And so I was pretty independent early on in that sense, but that emotional connection was gone. So when they were present, when they were there with me, that's when we would, joke and have fun and talk about life and stuff like that. But all of that was just ripped away from me. And I didn't even know if they were alive for about a year and a half, to be honest with you. And so that fear coupled with the loneliness and the disconnect really, really made me sort of um, hide in my cave in a way. I had friends and kids who used to go out and play, and I tried to do that as well. But in the back of my mind was always, I'm like, are my mom and dad alive? You know? And then you would see other kids with their moms and dad, and it just makes me so emotional thinking about it because I didn't have mine.
I definitely understand you very well. And in my case, I only had my dad left. So
Yeah.
I knew that my grandparents were not the ones that I could go to. It's very sad. I couldn't go to them because
Same,
they
same
got
thing.
me in
Same
that
thing.
situation, and I love them, and I always had a very loving and forgiving heart, but I was so confused. I was so confused,
Right.
and these are the ones that I have promised to love and protect. And I could understand your confusion too of not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing if your parents were alive, not knowing what was going to happen tomorrow. And you're right. We only had two options. We're going to
Yeah.
either hold on to the Lord and continue fighting, or we're just going to let ourselves go. And I think that that's what you did as well.
Yeah, I
I
just
did too.
felt like it was the only constant in my life
Yes.
because with so much, with so many ups and downs that you go through life, I think the only constant that you have is your connection to God. Your connection to that strength up there. And what I've learned, and I think it's really essential for us to share today, is that through these hurdles, through this pain, there's this deep connection that happens with this mighty source, whether you call it Jesus, whether you call it Buddha, whether you call it Allah, whatever that is for you. The point is that there's a higher power that might have put these obstacles in your way
Yes.
to kind of turn you in that direction.
Yes.
And I didn't understand that obviously being in the place that I was in. But as I did the work, as have you,
Yes.
I came to an understanding that all of these ups and downs that we do go through are truly lessons, blessings, gift, because how would we know what joy felt like if we didn't feel the pain?
I agree.
Right? How
Yes.
would you know what light is like if we were not in the dark?
Yes.
And, for me, even as a kid, I always had that hope that, while I cannot protect my mom and dad, I know God can. And if I'm
Yes.
meant to see them, I'm going to see them.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how long it took.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I find very touching to me as you're sharing that is that you were always very positive. You didn't allow, like a lot of people might right now be listening and say, you know what, yes, but my situation is very different. Oh, it's not going to change. You had a choice and you decided to continue fighting and continue thinking and having, those moments of, you know what, it's very hard, but I know things are going to change. I have this hope that I will see my parents again. And you didn't allow, those moments or those voices, because we sometimes have those voices that tell us things are not going to get better. It's not going to work out. You're never going to see your parents, but you actually decided not to go there. And I really admire that. And I did the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I don't know if you felt this, but I felt like that was a part of God in me that helped me make that choice. There
Yes.
were days where I cried. There were days where I would sit in the corner, hold myself, and cry. And then there were days where I woke up and I'm like, okay, yes, there's bombing and shelling all around here. Yes, I don't know if I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, but I'm alive today. I'm alive today, and I'm grateful for that.
Yes.
And I honestly felt being in my little teeny tiny 11-year-old body that it was not just me. I feel that that was God speaking through me.
Yes, most definitely.
Because
I agree.
I honestly feel that when we're born, we kind of have that within ourselves. Like we have that seed that kind of grows,
Yes.
and so for me, I've always been like that. I've always looked at the half glass full,
Hmm.
never looked down because I have gone through life. I have lost things. I have felt, seen, experienced things that some people haven't. But then I also know that there's worse than what I have
Yes.
to go through. There's always someone who is less lucky than me or less fortunate than me. And so whenever I'm in that doubt, in that dark space, when those voices start to come on, I turn it around by focusing on what's going right in my life, what's
Yes.
going well in my life.
Yes.
And I feel that that's the key really to finding that light.
Yes, I agree with you because you have to find the balance. That's how I find it. I find the balance and a day-to-day walking path. Well, things could be worse, and I'm very blessed. I know that there's other people that are in different circumstances than I am. So I supposed to walk that path and understand that that's what I would tell myself as I was going through that. And it was hard, but I would always say there must be other people that are in my same shoes, or there's other that who knows what they're dealing with. But you know what? I'm glad that I'm here, that I'm alive, that God is helping me. And that seed my mother had planted at a very young age. I was just a little girl. So I'm glad that I received that. There's people here that are still in darkness. There's people that are still living in isolation, that they're sad and they cannot find the light. What would you tell them if they were listening right now? What would you say?
From what I have come to find when it comes to us is really understanding that you have that power within yourself to choose to stay and dwell in that pain. And yes, sometimes you might find comfort in that pain because if you surround yourself with people who feed into that, you're going to feel at home. So for me, it was really important to surround myself with individuals who are uplifting, who are positive, who are the light that I could borrow while I'm in my dark. And so you have a choice whether you're going to be on this side or you want to be on that side. And
Yeah.
that's why we are so powerful. And of course, with God's strength and help, you will get to that other side. But
Yes.
again, as God says, it's your choice, right? Like you have to choose for yourself.
Yes, you definitely do. You have to make that decision,
Decision.
and no one could do it for you. That's a hard part that we
That
wish
is the,
we could go and
yeah,
help and do it ourselves for them, but each and one of us, we have to decide what we're going to do for our lives. And just listening to your story, it's a very powerful story. It touches me because I have, in a way, some form. I never knew really much of more into detail till now, that we have a connection. And I think that we all, as human beings, we have a connection. I believe that we all come together in Christ, and I believe that we're all sisters, brothers, and sisters in God and our daddy God. And it's also our job to let them know that they're not alone and that we're passing life here and that we can help each other and that things will get better. They truly will get better. And I would love to hear a message from you. Where could they find you? Where could they know a little bit more about you?
Well, the best way to connect with me is on Facebook. That's where you can reach out to me. You can connect with me, add me as a friend. I try to make things simple. So you don't have to go to my website. You don't have to send me an email or a text. Just connect with me on Facebook because we all are already on Facebook. We're a community, right? And so um, one of the things that are really important to understand is that your life as it is right now does not have to look the same 3 months, 6 months from now. And even if you see that there is no way out, you might think like you don't know people, you don't have resources. We all have been there, and it's going to just keep you stuck. So what I have right now and what I would like to share with you and everyone else is I have created a space where I make time, even if it's just 15 minutes getting on a call with me, so that you can share with me what it is that you're stuck with, so that we can brainstorm a solution. I'm not asking for payment. I'm not asking for you to sign up with any of my programs. It's simply me paying it forward, just so that you know that you're not alone in this, that there are resources out there, and that the fact that you might be listening to this today, this is your sign that you can get out of whatever impossible situation you might think you might be in. Because I've had those who have reached out to me and they said, Lla, I'm in a very toxic relationship. I get beaten every single day. I can tell you that because I feel like I can trust you. And that meant so much to me, knowing that a stranger would reach out to me and feel comfortable and safe to share that private information that I know is probably not shared out there. And I know that this person may have talked to their families and their families have tried to talk them out
Yes.
of that. So nothing is impossible. I've helped those women get out of those relationships. Was it easy? Not so much. But if they're willing to try another way, then there is a solution. There is a solution to every problem. It's just whether or not you're willing to try things that might be a little unconventional or a little uncomfortable.
Yes.
But you gotta get out. You have to. You can only do it on your own because I can't force you, but I can show you. I can give you a hand and I can say, hey, here's a resource. Here's someone you can contact. Here's someone that you can reach out to. Here's someone who can help you be safe or stay safe. Or if I don't know, I can help you research it. So for me, it's really not only coaching you on how to open up to love, but how to have your best life. And so for me is really to help you win at love and at life because it's not one or the other. They're all connected. And you can't have a life without love, and you can't have love without thriving in life. And so yeah, I just want to put that out there as a message that no matter where you're at, no matter how impossible it may look right now, you can get to the other side. There are people in place like you and I to show you the way. Because if we have done it, we know and trust in you and in God that you can do it. Because it wouldn't have put us together today if that was not the case.
Yes, I agree with you, and I thank you for being here today with us, with me. And I would say that I believe that there's no coincidence, and I think that God always has a plan, and He always works things in a very mysterious way. And I know that I there's power when there's two or more in his name, many wonderful things happen. And if God has overly blessed us in so many ways, I definitely today leave you with that message that we also want you to be blessed and that you do have an identity, not in that past, not in what you had gone through, but in Christ. That's where your identity is as a daughter, as a son of the great I am. And thank you so much for being here with us today. And I hope to see you very soon on the next episode. God bless you and thank you, Ella, for being here today.